Trey McClurkin here to demonstrate the assembly of an OSP Studio Rack. Now this is how it comes to you in the mail. So it's this in a box. This model in particular is the 12-space Studio Rack. It's just the TAC 12U18. Just basically means it's 12 rack spaces tall and 18 inches deep front to back. Okay, the first thing to do, I just cut the tape on all four sides, and now this box is actually a little different. It's actually a lid that covers this inside box. So we just want to slide this off, easy like that. It reveals the different parts of the pieces inside. Okay, now we've got all of our pieces out of the box, and as you can see, there's basically two sides, and these have the steel rack rails. These racks do have front and rear rack rails, and then also two other, basically the top and the bottom. Now this is the bottom. It's got these heavy-duty rubber feet on it. I'm going to simply turn it over, and I want you to notice there are letters here that correspond to the assembly procedure. We've got A's match up with A's, and a B matches up with B. Looks like that's a D, best I can tell. And so we're going to assemble it with the matching letters. Here are the hardware screws. It's basically just metal screws and nuts. There's no washers, so it's very straightforward, very easy. And then this bag is actually rack screws and washers that you would use on these rack rails to actually mount your audio equipment into this rack. So we're going to set these aside, and I'm going to first start this. This would actually be the top, since this is the bottom. I see the letter B right here. I'm actually going to match up this B right here with this B on this corner. And there's a little metal groove right here. You see this on this aluminum edge trim. There's a little slit right there, and this piece goes right down into that groove. Now I've also got this little screwdriver here that we're going to use to line up these holes in this panel. So you can just kind of work that in there, wiggle it around so that those holes line up. Okay, the next step is we've already got the screws in with the nuts on. I just want to show on this side, we're going to put this screw in on this side. And what I've found is if you just hold the little nut there in place, and with your screwdriver on this other side, simply turn it, it goes together real quick and easy. Now that I've got my screws in all corners, I'm going to tighten them up on this side. This hole right here is drilled. However, it does not receive a screw simply because of the rack rail on the other side would prevent the nut from actually fitting in there. So we just leave that one blank. It's just two screws and nuts on each corner of each side. Okay, and the next step, this is actually the bottom with the rubber feet, and we're going to match up the A panel here on that side of the bottom with the A on this side panel, and we're just going to slip it into this little groove there, that little slit in the aluminum edging, just like that. And then again, we'll take our screwdriver and go through these holes and kind of wiggle it around so that they line up properly. Now after you've got these screws in the other side, we just tighten up all of the screws all the way around, and we notice that we've now got the A panel here on this side matched up with this A, and then the other side B goes with B. And then now we've got the other side that has the rack rails, and you'll notice the D is right here, and I've got the other side panel that has the rack rails, and there's actually, it's kind of hard to see, it's not completely printed there, a C and also a D. So I'm going to actually flip this over so that my D on this panel matches up with this side, that's a D, and this one that has a C. Now this one's kind of tricky because you've got these two grooves on both sides here that have to fit on this plywood. So it may take just a little bit of trial and error to get it to fit properly in there, but you just kind of work with it and it'll eventually seat properly in that groove. Okay, once we've got this other side seated properly in each groove on either side and it's kind of cinched up there, basically what we're going to do again is just take a screwdriver and go in these side holes and just kind of wiggle it around so that all of the holes line up properly. And you may have to use a little bit of force there just to kind of get that hole all the way through there so that the screws go in easily. Okay, now we've got all of the sides bolted down and snugged up to just finger tight. But on some of these holes, and you may run into this, they just don't line up exactly perfect, even after we've had a screwdriver in there and lined them up. And so basically, what you might need is a larger screwdriver to use to kind of hammer it in there. Sometimes some of these do need a little bit of persuasion, but don't hesitate. Or I've even used a hammer on some just to kind of help them find their way all the way through the plywood, this piece of aluminum edging, and then the inside piece of aluminum edging. So you've got quite a bit to get through there. So don't hesitate to use just a little gentle force to help them find their way. Okay, now we've got this studio rack completely assembled. As you can see, there's just several steps. They're very basic, very straightforward, and repeat. So it's very easy to do, just matching the numbers and using a screwdriver and a little hammer with a little force if need be to get all the holes to line up so that you can then attach the nuts to the screws. And once you mount your rack equipment inside there, it actually also adds stability to this case. It's a great product from OSP. This is the Studio Rack TAC 12U18. They're available in different sizes. This is the 12 space version, and we're just doing this video to show you how to put it together.